If you're like me and you have trouble feeling like you have clarity on what you want to talk about, what you want your YouTube channel to be about, or your blog or your podcast or whatever it is, stay tuned. I've got some tips that are going to help you out. Hello there, I'm Ben Tolson, and today I want to talk to you about getting clarity on what you want to share. I recently made a video talking about wanting to be more consistent. I'm trying to commit to 2 years of posting every single day on YouTube. In the video I made sharing that, I asked the question, what is something that keeps you from posting consistently? One of the answers I got back was just a lack of clarity on what to share. That's a huge one. I big time struggle with that. There are 2 approaches you can take to answering that problem. You can take the approach of talking about it from the overall content perspective, like clarity on what you're going to share in general. You can also talk about it in terms of the specific content. What specific piece of content am I going to share, and do I have clarity on that? In this video, I want to talk about how to get clarity overall. To be honest, this is something I'm still wrestling with. I'm not 100% sure exactly what I want to share on this channel or who I want this content to be for, but I've gone through this exercise before, and I think I can come up with a satisfying answer to this question. And even if you don't arrive at having, perfect clarity on what you're going to share, you'll at least feel unstuck and able to continue. That's how I feel right now. So I want to share what I did to help myself get to that place. So when it comes to getting clarity about what you want to share in general, I think it comes down to 3 things. 1, what are you knowledgeable about? 2, what are you interested in or passionate about? And 3, is there an audience for something that matches both of those other 2 criteria? When we're talking about knowledge, we're talking about something you could teach to someone who is a few stages earlier in their journey than you. What are some things that you know now that you wish you a year ago would have known, or you 2 years ago would have known? That is great content. Or if you're not making educational content, what is something that you know a lot about that you feel like you're an expert in? That could be basically anything that's related to you specifically, your personal life, like who knows you better than yourself? Ooh, that's a big question. Anyway, it could just be some hobby that you have that you're really into that you've taken a lot of time to learn about. For example, my 2nd oldest son knows a lot of stuff about Rubik's Cubes. He's done a ton of research about the different types and different brands, and he knows how to solve them. He knows how to solve multiple types of Rubik's Cubes. So he could talk about that because there are a lot of people out there who are interested in Rubik's Cubes who don't necessarily know all of the things that he knows. When we're talking about interest, the question is, how interested are you in this? How passionate are you about this? Is this something you could see yourself making content consistently about for the next 5 to 10 years? Okay, now I know that's a super scary question because 5 to 10 years, it's a long time. And like me, you might feel like, oh, I don't want to lock myself into having to do something for 5 to 10 years. So maybe for the purpose of this exercise, scale back the time frame a little bit to something that you're comfortable with. Maybe 5 to 10 years is way too long, but you could see yourself doing it for the next 1 to 2 years, or even 6 months. The point of this question is to find those things that you could commit to for some period of time. And then finally, when we talk about audience, the question is there already an audience for this? You want the answer to that question to be yes. And here's why. When there's already an audience for something, that means people are interested in it. They're already looking for it. They're trying to find content about it. And so even though there's competition, there's also opportunity. And so the next question you want to ask yourself is, how could I differentiate myself from what's already out there? We've got these 3 things: knowledge, interest, and audience. So what I encourage you to do is to put this together in some kind of diagram. I just threw this table together in Google Sheets, and basically I've got a column here for ideas, and then I can score each of those 3 categories that we talked about: knowledge, interest, and audience, and then I can total that. And the score doesn't really matter. You can do like 1 to 10 or 1 to 20 or whatever you feel most comfortable with. So start off with an idea, and you can pull this from the other categories. So maybe there's something that you feel like you know a lot about. So I'm going to put in video production. And my knowledge score on video production, if I were to give it between a 1 and a 10, I'd say it's probably about a 7, which is fine. Even a 7 or even a 5, you can teach somebody who knows less than you do. It's not about knowing everything about a subject, but it's about knowing enough to teach someone who's a few stages behind you. Under interest, I'd probably put this one at about an 8, and under audience, I would put this one at a 10 because there are a ton of people looking for tips on video production. This gives me a total of 25. And then I might have something like music. I love music and making music and writing songs. Actually, I'll get more specific. I'll say songwriting. I know quite a bit about songwriting. I'm going to put that as an 8. Love songwriting. I have a lot of fun with that, but I think the audience for that is probably not quite as strong, maybe a 7. So that would give this one an overall score of 23. And I could go on and I could continue doing that for as many things as I want to. Now the goal here is not to figure out, okay, which one has the highest score and that's the one you do. But as you're going through this list and kind of working out your ideas and quantifying some of these things, it makes it a little bit easier for you to feel like, oh, I think I am more interested in doing this one, or I think I can see myself doing this other one. Or you might be like me and you might think, gosh, these all sound really great. I'm not sure if I can land on any one of those things. Well, maybe those 2 or 3 or 4, different things might be the things that you need to start out with. And this is where I think the clarity part comes in for those people who have trouble choosing between their top 3 or 4. In my previous video, I talked about the importance of consistency. In terms of what is really important for growing an audience, it goes consistency, content, and then in third place, still important, but it's in third place, is the quality of what you're producing. You might not have the quality completely sorted out. You might not have the content completely sorted out, but the consistency can still be really powerful and is really the most important thing to lock in, especially if you're really trying to grow an audience and you're trying to build something. Consistency is key. So if feeling like you have to choose one thing before you can be consistent keeps you from ever posting anything, that's a problem. The way I solved that problem is I said, you know what? I'm not going to force myself to choose one. I want to develop the habit of being consistent, and as I'm posting content regularly over time, I'm going to have a better idea of what I'm really interested in and what's resonating with the people in my audience. You might have trouble answering the question, how interested am I? How long can I commit to something? And really the best way to figure that out is to post consistently and over time discover what you feel most connected to. So I hope this exercise helps a little bit and gives you enough clarity that you feel like you can move forward with a handful of different focuses so that you can discover the thing that you really love talking about and that connects you to an audience. In the next video, I'm going to talk about specific topics. So once you have the general thing figured out, how do you find and get clarity on the more specific topics? If you want to check out that video, stay tuned. I will post it next week. And until then, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want more content like this, and I'll see you next time.